affair with the defendant before suing him. Something about the way the affair ended, combined with getting sued, left this defendant unsatisfied with a mere dismissal. So he sued me for having taken on her case against him. When I sat down to breakfast with Bob, I had just paid a retainer to the lawyers who would defend me and had begun the process of going through every document, every email, and every pleading in the case to formulate my defense. The suit against me was a plain example of how legal proceedings can become a circle of hatred in which each vicious legal move is countered by an even more malevolent one until everyone is out of money. In my darkest moments, I worried that my client's ex-suitor and his relentless desire for revenge would not only leave me completely out of money, but would call my practice into question, effectively ending my career as a lawyer. 7 years before, I'd started my small law practice idealistically. Like some wannabe legal Jerry Maguire, I had set forth my ideals in a mission statement. The statement of ideals, which I shared with my associates and even posted on the wall and on my website. For example, I promised to be true to our beliefs in right and wrong, both as lawyers and as human beings. I signed clients up at low rates, commemorated in simple one-page retainer agreements, because I wanted to avoid the page after page of legal mumbo-jumbo that most lawyers use to cover their backsides. My rates were low because I worried about the effect of my bills on my clients. I wanted to do no harm, which my father, a surgeon, had always preached to me as the foundation of his ethics. Unlike a doctor's, a lawyer's treatment does, often, in Hippocrates' words, injure or wrong a client. I wanted to help people before my bill became their biggest problem, and I became the principal person harming them. But during 2007, I learned, in a painful way, that such idealism had serious limitations as a business model. I tried to be logical about what would happen next. It seemed insane to keep trying to do what I'd been doing, but I could not see a way out with all my clients and my employees depending on my willingness to proceed. I had counted on the clients who owed me the $170,000, and I felt too embarrassed to tell my employees now, just 3 days before Christmas, that there would be no money for year-end bonuses. Bob wondered why I was even thinking of bonuses. Why, with all my other problems, was it even on my mind? Throughout the year, we'd been trying to renew the lease in our office space, but then the building went up for sale, and for months we had no landlord from whom to seek a new lease. Then, at the beginning of December, a new owner bought the building, and his first decision was to end our tenancy, unless we wanted to accept an above-market rent. When we balked, he asked us to leave as soon as possible. We now needed about $25,000 in cash if we wanted to sign a lease for comparable space in another building. When you run a small law practice, much of what comes in also goes out to rent, employees, insurance, and the other expenses of running the business. What's left at the end is your salary, so to speak. For me, for 2007, this salary was going to be nothing. In fact, it was less than nothing. I had lost $12,652. Clients had failed to pay nearly $400,000 in bills. One client paid in toys, worth an eighth of his bill, and he was one of the good ones. My last vacation had been in 2003. I had worked 60 hours a week all year without a break, for less than nothing, it turned out. I had accomplished a tour de force of failure. Aside from producing no measurable compensation, my work and my role in the world that it represented had become detestable to me. I'd wanted to help people as an attorney, but too often I was still just a vehicle whereby clients conveyed hatred, sought retribution, and inflicted pain on their fellow men and women. Some lawyers love the fight and never weary of it. I was not one of them.